people. Cynthia said she warmed the room up for you, so I guess we'll get a lot of the tough questions. Just really excited to be here with so much attention on Pac-12 women's basketball. I think a lot of people are saying it, but it's as deep and exciting as a conference since I've been in it. And my first year as an assistant, there were 6 NCAA tournament teams. And I remember we were the last one to get the tournament hanging by the skin of our teeth. So it's exciting to see the conference evolve. Just really glad to be part of a conference that's going to be so competitive. From our standpoint, I love the first 2 weeks of practice. There's a great feel to our group. We have 10 young women that are hungry and excited together. That starts with Brittany and her leadership. I'm sure you guys will ask me a lot of questions about it first. I won't go into it now, but just really excited for you all to see this version of Cal basketball, which I think will be one of the most fun and exciting ones we've had yet.
Why do you think the conference is needed? What are the reasons for it?
I think over the course of the last several years, more of the great West Coast players have decided to stay home on the West Coast in some capacity. That's the first thing. I think that the league is full of great coaches, and I think that the depth of talent. You don't go to a game anymore in this conference and not have 2 or 3 marquee names that you're playing against, in addition to a great coach on the sideline. So it's just the depth of talent and really good coaching.
Coach, in what ways have you seen Brittany Boyd mature over the years? Obviously, she came in and big marks and freshman, really one of the face of that team setting that personality. Now she's a senior. How has she come along? And Brittany, how do you feel like you kind of grown over the course of the 4 years?
I mean, how much time do we have? I literally could waste your entire day talking about her growth. She came in as this incredibly talented, bold, in a good way, freshman point guard, and I pretty much gave her, the keys to the car from the beginning, knowing that there was going to be some maturation and growth along the way. But I just felt really strongly that she deserved to do that while being on the court. I thought her growth would be greater. I can't tell you the number of things that she's doing now at such a high level that she's worked on. That's separate from the natural kind of things she does at WSW. I'm talking about vocal leadership and being in incredible shape and being the first to get up extra shots, being the first to pick up the team when something bad happens on the court, turnover or something. All of these things that that took some time. We're now seeing. I was saying to someone in the other room that I watched a workout video the other day for our website that's coming out, and the entire soundtrack of the video is her voice. I wasn't there. This is her talking to her teammates. This is a young woman that I couldn't get to open her mouth for the first year and a half. So the growth has been incredible. I'm just excited to be part of her senior year.
Brittany, can you articulate what it feels like to start your senior season as opposed to your sophomore season?
Sophomore season and freshman season, I was excited, just college basketball. I'm here, I made it. But my senior year, I just calmness about me. And I just, I even asked my mom, like, why do I have to be this calm? Like, I'm just so calm. She just like, go behind it, it's fine. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited, about our freshmen, our sophomores, the senior class, and be honest, I'm just calm. I'm calm because I'm calm as a regular.
Brittany, you were such a threat. You came through with a triple-double last season, flirted with several others along the way. What did you work on specifically in your game during the off-season to make you better?
One thing in the off-season that I really want to work on was being in great condition. Like, when the season started, not as games go along, but as soon as the season started. So this summer, I pushed myself beyond. I don't think I ever worked this hard in the summer. In the weight room, I gained 4 pounds of muscle, just trying to be the best, condition-wise, and, strength. But for the basketball, continue to work on my shot, making it consistent, being consistent. My demeanor and my passion for the game on the court, being consistent through ups and downs. And, I work on all that, not just on the court, but also off the court.
Like you guys have 10 players on the roster, 3 freshmen, 2 others who haven't seen a whole lot of action. How ready are the newcomers to contribute in the depth and center health?
Our freshman class was so highly touted, and because they were two of them were local, I probably, was more familiar with them than your typical recruit, and they've still been more impressive than I expected. I mean, really, I think it's because their ability to adapt has been faster than I thought, and their basketball IQs are faster than I thought. So we definitely will need and expect our three freshmen to contribute. I also credit our senior leadership for allowing our freshmen to be freshmen. I mean, Brittany and Rashonda and the rest of the senior class, Justine and Bridgeshine, but it really set a tone of just sort of this consistency of excellence that allows freshmen to just kind of find their way a little bit, which is what, Leja and Talia Eliza did for Brittany and Rashonda. There's a lot of talk about, we have two, I think, first round WNBA draft picks, and we have two McDonald's All-American freshmen. I think the class that gets kind of left out of the discussion are our sophomores, and I think they're going to be absolutely critical to how well we do. That freshman to sophomore leap is huge. So Mercedes Jefflo and Courtney Range, we really expect them to be big-time kids now, and I think they're ready to make that leap, and we expect Casey to contribute as well. So we only have 10. It's low, numbers, but as long as, the year we went to Top 4, we had 10 eligible players. We had 2 transfers come in. So as long as everyone stays healthy, I think it's a great thing.
You're going to separate the teams in conference, and what looks like to be close
I think a regular season conference championship is the truest test of sort of consistency of excellence. I think there's a lot of hype about postseason runs, but when you're doing it night in and night out, I think that really kind of shows who you are. So I think to separate this conference, it's going to be who can perform through a bad night. Who can handle a tough trip to Pullman, who can win a game when someone's out. Again, I look back to 2 years ago, we were 17-1. We had to win games when we shot the ball. We had to win when someone was sick. We had to win when, it wasn't our best day. And I think that's what will separate our other people who can find a way when they're not playing great to win. And obviously that's what Stanford has done so well, over the years. And I think our senior leadership will be a big piece of that. Like Brittany said, just maintaining when it's not perfect.
Obviously, there are a lot of contenders to win Pac-12 this year, but with there being no game ship belts, what you feel kind of more of an opening?
I think how you feel is about the young women in the locker room, how we feel when we look at each other. So when our team writes on the board that the goal is to win a Pac-12 championship, it's not because they're analyzing who and what other teams have and what they don't have. I think it's how we feel about ourselves. So yeah, I think our program is at a point where we want to win a Pac-12 championship, and we'll be disappointed if we don't. But we know how good the conference is and how hard that will be. But it's about how we feel about what our level of ability that we want to reach is.
You spoke about a calm you feel entering this season. Lindsay said that your growth this past year, especially both you and Ray, before the starters as leaders, has been that tremendous. How much has last season you faced? What you did as a personally for the team, how much has it influenced, I guess, how you feel now, and what you think you can do this season to help this team?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
I guess how much has last season influenced you, I guess, as a leader and a player for what could be a pretty special season for you guys?
Yeah. Last year, we had a good team, but it was some stuff that needed to be fixed and needed to be changed. I think last year we didn't want to get out of our comfort zone. We were very complacent. And I think this summer, more summer workouts and just more of the things that we finally can be in a position where it's okay to be uncomfortable. And that means we're wrong. And I've been plenty of times this summer where I was uncomfortable. I was like running on the track. I'm like, I want to stop. But if I stop, I know I have other people that's looking up to me. I know I have other people that's following right behind me. So I can't stop. And it was very uncomfortable. It was very hard. And I know that it's something bigger, especially for this team. I think as a team, everybody has learned that it's okay to be uncomfortable. And that's a sign of growth. So I think that's especially something for this team this year.
Brittany, who do you model your game after, say in the WNBA?
Yeah. No, I watch Kathy Myers. I absolutely love her game. I just think she's a very clutch player, hard worker.
It's like looking in the mirror, isn't it?
Yeah, I really admire her, especially like on court and off the court. Like she's like, I really appreciate that.
Did she tell you to ask that question? That's the softball that she
I'm
wanted.
not gonna say, I just, no, I covered the W during the summer while I'm getting ready for the season to start, so.
Lindsay, can you talk about your freshman, what are they, especially
Sure. I mean, you guys are all basketball people, so you know that there's terminology that's good, positive. I mean, they're both like freaks of nature in a good way. Gabby's a 6'2" guard. I mean, I've never seen someone like feel for the game or skill set. It's really special, and I think she has stepped in right away and is going to be able to contribute for us. I think in ways that are going to show up really big, and in ways also that are just kind of under the surface. I mean, she makes like the hockey assist, like the pass that leads to the assist. I mean, she has like a savvy of an older, veteran player, but with the freshmen as a freshman. Michaela Cowling is just incredible. I mean, another 6'2", 6'3" leaping athlete. She'll kind of have moments in practice that for us is like a Jen Brandon moment where you're just like, oh my gosh, how did she get that high? Or that kind of athleticism, but with more of a guard skill set. They complement each other really well. Their friendship was really fun to see, but they've obviously also just integrated into the team, so it's neat to have, two local and talented Americans. Obviously, their recruiting processes were so different. Michaela commits to us and to me going into her sophomore year, and Gabby makes me fly all the way to Lithuania, which is playing with USA basketball, but they both end up here, and it's a pretty good thing. And then the third one is one that people don't know very well. She's from New Zealand, Nina Davidson, comes from a basketball family, got her late, a little bit of an assist from Tara, who had seen her, so that was helpful, and we're just thrilled that Nina's in the county.
Brittany, I read somewhere that Rashawn called you and her cornflakes. Talk a little bit about the chemistry you guys have and let's coach those two.
Yeah, I think this all starts back when we first were freshmen. I think we definitely built a great freshman bond off the court that translated onto the court, but that's my role. Me and Rashawn are always with each other, always hanging out, that's a true friendship and a friendship that I'm carrying for a lifetime, but that's my role.
Sometimes I'll say it's but just to talk about Brittany and Rashonda, it's special to see it, in sort of this era, a little bit of individuality. Their respect for one another is special. I mean, we're just standing right out there, and Cynthia was joking and said, I was happy that there's no bouquet, which joke. And she first thought, but there's Rashonda Gray. Like they love one another, they respect one another, they make each other better. It's fun to be around them. I mean, they have two potential first round that they've been drafted. So I hope the Cal fans and the Cal community kind of appreciate what we get to watch with these two, kind of growing through the years together.
Lindsay, last season was a little disruptive at the start just because we didn't have people that we expected to have. Coming in now, is it a lot more stable? Is that going to have an effect on the
Yeah, I mean, I think I've never coached coming off the Final Four before. None of us had ever experienced that before. Everything was brand new for everybody, and I think every single one of our players, even though we had a bunch of really talented returning players, everyone was taking on something new. It was me and Rashonda's first time as being like the go-to people. It was the Food Race first time having to carry a burden. Was people stepping up from minimal roles to important roles, on the court. So everything was new for everyone, and it took a while. It was hard. It was a lot of change all at once. And I thought there was a point during the season where we really started clicking, but it was not right off the bat. This feels more like 2 years ago. Again, we're still a working process, but I think everybody is just kind of more solid in what's expected of them. I think there's a collective, kind of consistency of work ethic that's there. We're coming in every day, get better, we make a ton of mistakes, but I feel like we're mission focused 100%, and it's really neat to feel that way. And again, it's a group that, like our coaching staff, we're so excited to see them. They're just really fun to be around.
On top of that, I guess maybe your Asia family was really when you traveled their senior season. Do you see yourself taking on some of her leadership guidance and some of the things she would do to help make what was the first round for us?
Yeah, definitely. Like, they just, that was, me and her built a friendship, just nothing more, because in the NCAA tournament, I requested to be her roommate, just on how she did things. And last year it was kind of different for me, because Lindsay, I looked to my sophomore year, and last year it was just kind of like different. But this year it's like, okay, now I see kind of what they do when she would kind of get on me. Like I see some of the stuff, and I was like, oh, that used to be me, you know. But yeah, some of the stuff that they, did with me, I kind of did that with my freshmen and sophomores. And, I think they did a really good job of trying to connect with people, trying to build relationships off the court. And that's something that I value, and I value, all my relationships, different relationships with our players. And, try to connect with them and just try not, just get away from basketball for sometimes and just focus on our everyday life.
That's absolutely. What are we going to see from this is Cal basketball college? It's either a big countdown.
Yes.
4 days, 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 22 seconds.
Well, we've always, just tried to, when I took the Cal job, we wanted there to be another unique women's college basketball program, but doing it our way. And part of our way is progressive visuals and pushing the envelope creatively, but more than anything, opening the doors to our process to play games 35 days a year. There's 265 days that we're Cal basketball, so we want people to see that. My favorite part is always the players talking about one another. You can't fake it. We'll ask the person who does our website, we want a shoe that looks like this, or we want that. And you can't, it's authentic. It's how they feel about one another. It's funny, it's deep. So I like to parts of the players talking about makes it up. But also there's just some cool stuff on there, videos, photos.
Thank you all very much. Our first exhibition will then be on November 1st, your birthday, 2 o'clock, our season opening 16th. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.